Hey friends! Alright, I have our second story here in our compare and contrast book study, we could call it, of the classic tale of the Three Little Pigs. If you're just watching these videos to enjoy them, that's fine too. If you're filling out the organizer, awesome. I'm going to fill out mine once we read all four stories and we can go over some answers together. So this story, and actually the next two, I don't have the sound effects for, so you'll just have to imagine them in your head and I'll do the best reading I can do. So we read The Three Pigs by David Wisner. Now we're going to read The Three Little Wolves and the Big Bad Pig by Eugene Trivizas and Helen Oxenbury. Okay? All right. Once upon a time, there were three cuddly little wolves with soft fur and fluffy tails who lived with their mother. The first was black, the second was gray, and the third was white. One day, their mother called the three little wolves around her and said, "My children, it is time for you to go out into the world. Go and build a house for yourselves, but beware of the big, bad pig." "Don't worry, Mother. We will watch out for him," said the three little wolves, and they set off. So we've already got a big reversal of character roles in this story. Soon they met a kangaroo who was pushing a wheelbarrow full of red and yellow bricks. "Please, will you give us some of your bricks?" asked the three little wolves. "Certainly," said the kangaroo, and she gave them lots of red and yellow bricks. So the three little wolves built themselves a house of bricks. The very next day, the big bad pig came, prowling down the road, and saw the house of bricks that the little wolves had built. The three little wolves were playing cricket in the garden. When they saw the big bad pig coming, they ran inside the house and locked the door. Has anyone ever played cricket? I have never played. The pig knocked on the door and grunted, little wolves, let me come in." "No, no, no," said the three little wolves. "By the hair on our chinny-chin-chins, we will not let you in. Not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot." We have some similar phrasing going on, but in a different order compared to the other stories. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," said the pig. So he huffed and he puffed and he huffed, but the house didn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He went and fetched his sledgehammer and he knocked the house down. The three little wolves only just managed to escape before the bricks crumbled, and they were very frightened indeed. "We shall have to build a stronger house," they said. Just then they saw a beaver who was mixing concrete in a concrete mixer. "Please, will you give us some of your concrete?" asked the three little wolves. "Certainly," said the beaver, and he gave them buckets and buckets full of messy, slurry concrete. So the three little wolves built themselves a house of concrete. If you aren't sure what concrete is, think of a sidewalk outside that's made of concrete. Starts out as a mixture, and then it gets really hard. No sooner had they finished than the big bad pig came prowling down the road and saw the house of concrete that the little wolves had built. They were playing battledore and shuttlecock in the garden, and when they saw the big bad pig coming, they ran inside their houses and shut the door. The pig rang the bell and said, "Little frightened wolves, let me come in." "No, no, no," said the three little wolves. "By the hair on our chinny-chin-chins, we will not let you in. Not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot." Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down, said the pig. So he huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed and huffed, but the house didn't fall down. There's their concrete house. Looks pretty sturdy to me. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He went and fetched his pneumatic drill and smashed the house down. The three little wolves managed to escape, but their chinny chin chins were trembling and trembling and trembling. A tremble is like this, right? Their chins are trembling with fear. We shall build an even stronger house, they said, because they were very determined. Just then, they saw a truck coming along the road carrying barbed wire, iron bars, and armor plates, and heavy metal padlocks. Please, will you give us some of your barbed wire, a few iron bars and armor plates, and some heavy metal padlocks? They said to the rhinoceros who was driving the truck. Sure, said the rhinoceros, and he gave them plenty of barbed wire, iron bars, armor plates, and heavy metal padlocks. He also gave them some plexiglass and some reinforced steel chains, because he was a generous and kind-hearted rhinoceros. So the three little wolves built themselves an extremely strong house. It was the strongest, securest house that one could possibly imagine. They felt absolutely safe. If we were in the classroom, I would say stop and make a prediction. Do you think that the big bad wolf is going to get through this house? I don't know. Plexiglass, armed with barbed wire and metal plates? I'm not sure. Let's find out. The next day, the big bad pig came prowling along the road as usual. The three little wolves were playing hopscotch in the garden. When they saw the big bad pig coming, they ran inside their house, bolted the door, and locked all the 37 padlocks. The pig dialed the video entrance phone and said, "Little frightened wolves with the trembling chins, let me come in." "No, no, no," said the little wolves. "By the hair on our chinny chin chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot." "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down," said the pig. So he huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, but the house didn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He brought some dynamite, laid it against the house, lit a fuse, and the house blew up. He's not a very friendly pig. The three little wolves just managed to escape with their fluffy tails scorched. If you aren't sure what the word scorched means, you could use your context clues. You could look at the picture. I see a big explosion. I see they're running away from it. And scorched might mean their tails are a little singed or burned from the explosion. Don't worry, it gets better, I promise. "Something must be wrong with our building materials," they said. "We have to try something different." But what? At that moment, they saw a flamingo coming along, pushing a wheelbarrow full of flowers. "Please, will you give us some flowers?" asked the little wolves. "With pleasure," said the flamingo, and he gave them lots of flowers. So the three little wolves built themselves a house of flowers. It's pretty, and it probably smells really good. I'm not sure if it's going to protect them. One wall was of marigolds, one of daffodils, one of pink roses, and one of cherry blossoms. The ceiling was made of sunflowers, and the floor was a carpet of daisies. They had water lilies in their bathtub and buttercups in their refrigerator. It was a rather fragile house, and it swayed in the wind, but it was very beautiful. Next day, the big bad pig came prowling down the road and saw the house of flowers that the three little wolves had built. He rang the blue bell at the door and said, "Little frightened wolves with the trembling chins and the scorched tails, let me come in." "No, no, no," said the three little wolves. "By the hair on our chinny chin chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot." "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," said the pig. But as soon as he took a deep breath, ready to huff and puff, he smelled the soft scent of the flowers. It was fantastic. And because the scent was so lovely, the pig took another breath and then another. Instead of huffing and puffing, he began to sniff. He sniffed deeper and deeper until he was quite filled with the fragrant scent. His heart grew tender, and he realized how horrible he had been. Right then, he decided to become a big, good pig. He started to sing and to dance the tarantella. That's a kind of dance. There's lots of rich vocabulary in this story. You could always go back and pause and try and figure out what some of those words mean. If I talked about them, this would be a very, very long video. At first, the three little wolves were a bit worried. It might be a trick. But soon they realized the pig had truly changed, so they came running out of the house. They started playing games with him. First, they played Pig Pog and then Piggy in the Middle, and when they were all tired, they invited him into the house. They offered him tea and strawberries and wolfberries and asked him to stay with them as long as he wanted to. The pig accepted, and they all lived happily together ever after. I told you it got better and it had a good ending. I love this story. I think it is so neat how this author used different roles for the characters of the wolves and pigs, but there's still some parts of the classic tale, and I think it has a really good lesson at the end that people can truly change if they want to, and I think it's awesome that the little wolves gave the big bad turned big good pig a second chance to be their friend. So if you're using that organizer, go ahead, fill in some stuff in the second row, talk about the characters, the problems, the solution, things that were similar to our first story. And we have 2 more stories to read, and I'll be posting a recap video once we get through those. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.